Freudian slip. You meant to say, nice to meet you, to your girlfriend's dad, but somehow, nice to beat you came out instead. Congratulations, you just had a Freudian slip, named after that perverted old psychologist who thought everything was about sex and mothers. According to him, these verbal faceplants are not accidents at all. They are your deepest, darkest thoughts breaking out of horny jail and making a run for your mouth. When someone accidentally calls their teacher mommy, or tells their boss they love them, the old bearded theorist would say, that is the real truth escaping. Modern science says it is usually just your brain juggling 17 different word options and dropping the ball. Your neural pathways are running parallel races to your mouth, and sometimes the wrong contestant crosses the finish line first. Could it still mean something deeply psychological? Maybe, but most of the time, you're just verbally tripping over your own mental shoelaces. Intrusive thoughts. Picture this. You're holding a baby, and your brain whispers, what if you just yeeted this infant across the room like a football? You are cutting vegetables and suddenly think, I could totally stab myself right now. You are in an important meeting and your mind suggests you should stand up and scream the F word repeatedly. Welcome to Intrusive Thoughts, where your brain becomes that chaotic friend who gives terrible advice at the worst possible moments. These mental pop-ups are not your actual desires. They are more like your brain's way of reminding you that you technically could do something insane, but definitely should not. For most people, the thought arrives uninvited. You go, what the hell, brain? And then it leaves. But for some folks with anxiety conditions, these thoughts get stuck on repeat like a broken record player. The harder they try to stop thinking about it, the louder it gets. The secret? Do not fight it. Let the weird thought exist. Acknowledge it is just your brain being a drama queen and watch it get bored and leave. Color constancy failure. Remember that dress that broke the internet? The one where half the world saw black and blue while the other half would literally fight you because it was obviously white and gold? That was not people being stubborn idiots. Their brains were literally creating different realities from the same picture, and both sides were technically right in their own broken way. Your brain does not just see colors. It makes educated guesses based on what it thinks the lighting situation is. If your brain decides something is in shadow, it cranks up the brightness in post-production. If it thinks something is in sunlight, it dims everything down. Usually this helps you recognize that a banana is still yellow whether it is in your dark kitchen or outside at noon. But sometimes your brain absolutely fails at being a lighting director and creates completely different movies for different viewers. The same glitch is why identical gray squares look totally different when one has a fake shadow on it. Even when someone proves they are the same color, your brain keeps insisting you're being lied to. You cannot force yourself to see it correctly because the glitch happens before your conscious mind even gets the visual memo. Your brain is basically running Instagram filters on reality without asking permission. Sleepwalking. Imagine climbing a 100-foot construction crane in the middle of the night. Now imagine doing it while completely unconscious with zero memory of it happening. That is exactly what happened to a teenage girl in London who was found sleeping on a crane arm 13 stories above ground. She had somehow unlocked windows, navigated streets, entered a construction site, and turned into an unconscious Spider-Man, all while her consciousness was off duty. Sleepwalking is what happens when your body gets up for work but forgets to wake up your brain. The part that controls movement is online, but the part that makes decisions and stores memories is still dreaming about whatever weird stuff brains dream about. People have cooked full meals, driven cars, and even committed crimes while technically unconscious. Courts have actually let people off for serious crimes when they proved they were sleepwalking. So apparently, I was asleep is a real legal defense, which is simultaneously terrifying and kind of hilarious. Exploding head syndrome. No, your head is not actually exploding, though it certainly feels like someone detonated a bomb inside your skull. Just as you are drifting off to sleep, your brain decides to play the sound of a gunshot, explosion, or a simple crash at maximum volume directly into your consciousness. Nobody else hears it because it is not real. It is just your auditory system having a senior moment during the transition to sleep mode. Scientists think it is like your brain accidentally hitting the volume slider to 11 while shutting down for the night. Some blame electrical misfires in your sensory systems. Others point fingers at the part of your brain stem that is supposed to handle the smooth transition between awake and asleep, but sometimes just absolutely fails at its one job. The good news? It is completely harmless. The bad news? Your brain is literally jump scaring itself for no reason. Phantom vibration syndrome. Your phone buzzes in your pocket. You reach for it with that tiny hit of dopamine, ready to see who loves you enough to text. Except your phone did not buzz. It is not even in that pocket. Hell, it might be in another room entirely. Your nervous system just pranked you with a notification that never existed. Studies show that most phone users experience these ghost vibrations, We have trained our brains so thoroughly to expect notifications that they started hallucinating them. A muscle twitch, your jeans shifting slightly, a breeze across your leg, all of these get misinterpreted as someone definitely just liked your post. We have literally given ourselves technological phantom limb syndrome, except the limb is a rectangle that shows us memes. Semantic satiation. Say the word bowl out loud 50 times. Go ahead, I will wait. By the end, it sounds like an alien trying to communicate through a broken translator, right? That is semantic satiation, where repetition beats the meaning out of words until they become weird mouth sounds from another dimension. When you repeat a word over and over, your neurons basically get exhausted from processing the same thing repeatedly. They start phoning it in, like an employee who has been asked to do the same task 800 times in a row. The connection between the sound and its meaning temporarily disconnects, leaving you with just noise. Some scientists think your brain starts ignoring it like background static. Others believe it is your prediction systems getting lazy and just giving up entirely. Either way, you can turn any word into gibberish just by saying it enough. Language is apparently held together by the brain equivalent of Scotch tape, and repetition is the solvent that dissolves it. Doorway effect. You walk into the kitchen with absolute purpose and determination. You arrive and stand there like someone just unplugged your controller. What were you doing? Why are you here? Did you come for food? Water? To check if the stove is off for the 8th time today? Welcome to the doorway effect, where walking through a door is basically hitting delete on your short-term memory. This is not you getting old or developing amnesia. Scientists have proven this happens to everyone. They have tested it in real buildings, virtual reality, and probably in those weird laboratory mazes they are always building for some reason. Every time you cross a boundary, your brain decides to start a new chapter and sometimes forgets to bring the plot from the previous one. Some think it evolved to help our ancestors stay alert for predators when entering new spaces, which makes sense until you realize we are using caveman software to navigate modern kitchens. Your brain treats each room like a separate level in a video game, and sometimes the loading screen between them wipes your current objective. You are not forgetful. You're just experiencing an area transition glitch that somehow made it through millions of years of evolution without getting patched. These mental malfunctions are not signs that something is wrong with you. They are proof that consciousness is way weirder than we pretend it is. Your brain is running on biological hardware that evolved to avoid predators and find fruit. And now you're using it to remember passwords and understand memes. The fact that it works at all is honestly the most surprising part. Every one of these glitches is happening to everyone around you. That super professional colleague has definitely had the intrusive thought about flipping a table during a meeting. Your brilliant professor has stood in doorways forgetting why they exist. Your phone-addicted friend feels phantom buzzes from devices that are turned off. We are all walking around with brains that malfunction in the exact same hilarious ways, pretending we are totally normal and definitely not constantly experiencing reality glitches. These are not problems to solve. They are features that remind us that human consciousness is basically a beautiful disaster, barely holding itself together. Your brain is doing its best with outdated software. And honestly, the fact that you can read this sentence without your neurons catching fire is pretty impressive. So the next time your brain pulls one of these stunts, just laugh at the absurdity of existence. And remember that everyone else's brain is equally broken in exactly the same ways.